Welcome back to today's Explainer. So, today we're putting on our medical detective hats to investigate the true science behind under-eye radiance. You know the drill. We see them in the mirror every morning, those stubborn shadows under our eyes, and we immediately blame ourselves, right? We kind of think we did something wrong. But what if the science tells a completely different story? Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever slept a full 8 hours, you wake up feeling completely refreshed, but your eyes still look incredibly tired? I mean, I know I have. It's incredibly frustrating. But right away, I want to validate that frustration for you. See, dark circles aren't just a punishment for staying up late. They actually affect completely healthy people who literally do everything right. And, spoiler alert here, those expensive luxury eye creams we've all been heavily marketed, yeah, they aren't exactly the magic cure we think they are. To understand why, we really need to clear the air. Which brings us to Section 1, the Great Sleep Myth. We've got to break some pervasive beauty myths before looking at the actual science. Let's do a rapid-fire myth versus reality check. And what's really interesting about this slide is how it proves dark circles are actually a complex mix of genetics and skin structure. It is absolutely not just a lack of sleep. Sure, lack of sleep makes your skin pale and vessels more visible, but it's not the root cause. Another myth, that drinking a gallon of water will cure it instantly. I mean, hydration helps, absolutely, but it's not the whole shebang. And those expensive creams? The reality is, most of them only temporarily reduce the appearance of dark circles. They don't permanently remove them at all. So, if it's not just sleep and water, what on earth is actually happening on our faces? Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of a Dark Circle. Let's put our medical detective hats firmly back on to understand the physical evidence right on our faces. To really investigate this, we first need to define our terms clearly. When we say dark circles, we're really just talking about under-eye discoloration, and this manifests in 3 distinct physical ways. It could be brown, which is actual pigmentation in the skin itself. It could be blue or purple, which, believe it or not, is actually your blood vessels showing right through. Or it could look black or kind of shadow-like, which is simply a structural hollow in the skin, creating a literal shadow on your face. Now, get ready for a major aha moment. 0.5 millimeters. Just try to wrap your head around that unimaginably tiny number for a second. That is exactly how incredibly thin the skin under your eyes is. To put that into perspective, it's just a tiny fraction of the thickness of the rest of the skin on your body. It is so delicate. Because that skin is only 0.5 millimeters thin, it essentially acts like a transparent window, or think of it like tracing paper, to whatever is going on underneath it. If you have higher melanin levels, which is especially common in Indian skin tones, for example, that pigment is going to be highly visible through that window, giving it that brown appearance. Alternatively, if you have poor blood circulation, the blood literally pools under the eyes. And because that skin is practically see-through, that pooled blood shows up as a bluish tint right on the surface. So it's really an issue of transparency and structure, not dirt or fatigue. That leads us to Section 3, the true underlying causes. Now that we know the biology, follow the clues with me as we round up the actual culprits. So the crucial point is, genetics is the absolute most common cause here. It runs in families. If your parents have dark circles, there's a very high likelihood that you will too. It's literally coded right into your DNA, completely independent of how many hours you sleep or what kind of fancy products you use. But, genetics isn't working alone. We have a whole lineup of suspects here. Screen time causes eye strain, which leads to poor circulation and that pooling blood we just talked about. A poor diet lacking in iron can directly cause dark circles, while dehydration leads to dull skin. Sun exposure increases melanin production, causing darker pigmentation. Stress creates hormonal imbalances that genuinely damage the skin. And finally, just natural aging. As we age, we naturally lose fat under the eyes, and that 0.5 millimeter skin becomes even thinner, creating that distinct hollow shadow look. Let's move to Section 4, Real Solutions That Work. This is the most empowering part of our investigation, where we finally open the toolbox of evidence-based antidotes. If you're dealing with deeper structural issues, dermatologists have specific medical treatments available. They can use chemical peels or laser therapy to powerfully address hyperpigmentation. And remember those shadow-like hollows we mentioned? Well, dermatologists can actually use fillers specifically injected into the under-eye area to physically plump out that hollow space, literally eliminating the shadow entirely. For daily maintenance, you really need the right chemistry, and this brilliantly illustrates the exact research-backed active ingredients you need in your skincare routine and the specific biological jobs they perform. Vitamin C actively brightens the skin. Retinol actually works to thicken that delicate under-eye skin. Caffeine physically constricts blood vessels to reduce puffiness, and niacinamide specifically targets and reduces that brown pigmentation. You really want function over flash here. But hey, you don't need a medical degree or a massive budget to make an impact. Let's rapid fire through some natural, budget-friendly home remedies that actually work. Cucumber slices offer a nice cooling effect that reduces puffiness. Green or black key bags utilize that natural caffeine we just talked about to really improve blood flow. Potato juice actually has a gentle, natural bleaching effect on the skin. Cold compresses tighten blood vessels to reduce swelling. And almond oil mixed with vitamin E nourishes and improves the overall skin texture. Now, the key reminder here, consistency over 2 to 3 weeks is absolutely required. You've got to give your skin time to actually respond. Ultimately, though, your daily habits are the real heroes. These long-term lifestyle fixes are totally foundational. Getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, reducing screen time before bed to rest your eyes, staying hydrated, eating iron-rich foods like spinach and beetroot to keep your blood healthy and circulating, and, of course, using sunscreen daily to stop excess melanin production. These are, hands down, the absolute most powerful tools you have for long-term radiance. Before we wrap up, we definitely need a quick reality check on what not to do so you don't accidentally self-sabotage and undo all your hard work. First, stop rubbing your eyes. It damages and literally breaks blood vessels in that incredibly fragile skin. Don't rely solely on topical creams to fix what might be an internal or structural issue. Don't expect overnight results. Your body needs time to heal. And try to avoid excessive caffeine and junk food, which can dehydrate you and trigger poor circulation. To conclude our explainer today, just remember this. Take care of your body and your skin will follow. Having dark circles is perfectly normal. You do not need to have scientifically impossible airbrushed skin to be healthy. Which really leaves us with a final provocative thought to ponder. The next time you look in the mirror and criticize those natural shadows under your eyes, ask yourself, are you prioritizing true holistic health and listening to what your body needs? Or are you simply exhausting yourself trying to meet an entirely unrealistic beauty standard? Keep taking care of yourselves and stay curious.